911 may have plenty of canon romantic couples, but the subtext of Buck and Eddie's relationship is potentially the best slow burn on modern television. Though Oliver Stark's Evan "Buck" Buckley initially disliked Eddie Diaz, Ryan Guzman, the two become inseparable after working together during one of 9-1's intense disasters. Their friendship blossomed, but there seemed to be potential for more. The potential pairing, also known as Buddie, is highly divisive, but there's no denying that Buck and Eddie would be one of the most important couples in the 911 franchise. The characters have been treated like a package deal since the Season 2 premiere, but the past 7 seasons of 911 have consistently blurred the lines between platonic and romantic. The elf mistaking Buddie for a couple. Season 2, Episode 10. Julie Willett as a Christmas village elf in 911 Season 2, Episode 10. At its core, 911 is about a found family, including Station 118 and their loved ones, yet, Buck's role in Eddie's life goes far beyond workplace camaraderie. Soon after joining the 118, Eddie introduced Buck to his son, Christopher, Gavin Mayhew. The trio immediately clicked, leading Buck to join Eddie and Chris during their Season 2 visit to Santa's village. After Eddie and Chris walk away, one of the elves compliments Buck, saying, "You two have an adorable son." Rather than laugh it off or correct her, Buck hesitates for a moment before thanking her. Considering this interaction occurred mere months after Eddie's introduction, Buck being confused for Christopher's second father felt more significant than a one-off joke. The grocery store fight. Season 3, Episode 5. Eddie in 3x05. The idea of Buck and Eddie's dynamic feeling like an old married couple carried over to 911 Season 3, during the storyline that many refer to as Buddie's divorce arc. Following Buck's gruesome injury in the 911 Season 2 finale, he contemplated filing a lawsuit. Though he quickly settles, there's bad blood between Buck and the 118. The tension boils over when Eddie, who, in the wake of losing his ex-wife and nearly his son, was consumed by rage, decides to confront Buck. In one of the most pivotal Buck and Eddie fights in 911, the latter calls Buck out for abandoning him and Christopher, with the scene reading like someone bitterly arguing with an ex. The kitchen scene. Season 3, Episode 9. Eddie and Buck in 3x09, talking. Luckily, the pair quickly reconcile, and the lawsuit fades into oblivion. After making up, Buck and Eddie share a beer and talk about their fight at the grocery store, but the phrasing and tone of lines like "I'd still take you" and "You wanna go for the title" feel overtly flirtatious. Buck even grips his belt before the scene changes. The interaction felt bizarrely heated and far outside the realm of platonic, with many believers of Buck and Eddie's possible romance in 911 citing this moment as the turning point. Outside the show, many interviews have poked fun at the exchange for its palpable sexual tension, making it one of the most iconic buddy scenes in all of 911. How the 118 treated Buck during the well collapse. Season 3, Episode 15. Buck, Oliver Stark, in 911 Season 3 Episode 15 looking tired. As two of the biggest characters in the main cast, Buck and Eddie were no strangers to 9-1's traumatic near-death experiences, as evidenced by the Eddie Begins disaster. After Eddie cuts his safety rope to rescue a child from an underground well, a nearby explosion causes the wet earth to collapse, leaving him trapped with no escape route. Immediately, Buck begins clawing into the dirt and screaming Eddie's name, but Bobby, Peter Krauser, pulls him away from the scene. As Buck begins almost hysterically pleading for the team to dig Eddie out, his co-workers begin to treat him with spouse gloves, placating him more than anything. While other firefighters could detach themselves, Buck was too personally invested. Good cop or bad cop parenting. Season 4, Episode 10. Eddie and Buck in 3x18. Beyond their friendship, Buck and Eddie's partnership in 911 produced impressive synergy while responding to calls. However, their synchronicity wasn't always purely professional. In 911 Season 4, the team has to endure two parents arguing over their son, casting each other as good cop and bad cop. Chimney, Kenneth Choi, then asks if both parents can be good cops. In perfect unison, Buck and Eddie answer, no, and the rest of the 118 look at them incredulously. Whether it was intentionally calling them co-parents or meant to be humorous, the scene proves that Buck goes far beyond a co-worker or typical friend, especially when it comes to Christopher. As many fans have coined, they function as the Buck-Diaz family. Eddie's priorities after getting shot. Season 4, Episode 13. Eddie in 911 Season 4 Episode 13, 1. Only one season after his dramatic well collapse, Eddie faces another trauma in one of 9-1's best episodes. There are typical absurd emergencies, but everything comes to a head in the closing of Season 4's penultimate episode, when Eddie is shot by a sniper, leaving Buck soaked in blood. Stark's haunting performance makes it one of 9-1's most chilling scenes. The action picks up at the start of 911 Season 4's finale, when Buck crawls to Eddie's body and drags him to a nearby engine. On the frantic ride to the hospital, Buck says the usual, "Stay with me" variants, but Eddie's only line is to ask if Buck is hurt. Deep down, Eddie's concern for Buck outweighs his self-preservation, the will reveal. Season 4, Episode 14. Eddie in 3x14. The jarring, fast-paced opening gives way to a silent, almost frozen-in-time shot of Buck outside the hospital. The rest of the episode builds on his complicated feelings, culminating in the conversation he has after Eddie wakes up from surgery. In one of 9-1's most heartwarming moments, Eddie reveals to Buck that he is Christopher's de facto guardian if Eddie dies. From the way Eddie uses Buck's legal name to address him, because Evan, to the fact that Eddie added Buck to his will a year after meeting him, the conversation is monumental for their relationship. Their playful banter is entertaining, but the will reveal essentially communicates that Eddie wants Buck in his life, and his family, forever. Poker Night. Season 6, Episode 13. Buck and Eddie looking at something in 911 Season 6. Of course, Buck's near-death experiences add depth to his relationship with Eddie as well. After being struck by lightning, Buck's coma dream in 911 Season 6 created one of the most emotional episodes in the show's history. In fact, In Another Life is one of the few times Eddie has ever cried in 911. Though Buck recovers, Eddie doesn't forget. In true 911 fashion, there's a silly twist to the tragedy. Buck develops super math powers from his lightning strike. Eddie takes him to poker night, when another firefighter at the table brings up the accident. Eddie says Buck was dead for 3 minutes, 17 seconds, the knowledge of the exact time displaying the full extent of Eddie's grief. The Bachelor Party. Season 7, Episode 6. Buck and Eddie dirted and pulling faces in 911 Season 7. Even when Buck and Eddie were dating other people, their connection always seemed stronger. After Maddie, Jennifer Love Hewitt, proposed to Chimney, Buck embraced him as his future brother-in-law, even planning his bachelor party. Their mutual friends and Buck's ex-partner, Tommy, Lou Ferrigno Jr., show up, but everyone besides Eddie quickly bails.